gonna say. How you doing? How you doing?
Oh, no, we're problem.
Okay, if everybody take their seat, and we'll get ready to get the meeting started, the regular board meeting of Tuesday, August the 12th, 2014. So we're going to start out tonight with the invocation. I'll ask Alderman Barnhill if he would lead us in that. Following that, I'll lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. So I'd ask if we all stand, and Alderman Barnhill.
Would you bow with me? Heavenly Father, we come to you in prayer tonight. Thank you for this nation and for this community that we live in. We know that we're truly blessed by living in this country with all the freedoms that we have. We give you thanks for these freedoms. We also ask your blessings upon the soldiers that are in foreign countries defending the freedoms that we truly enjoy. We ask that you be with them, be with their families, because we know it is a difficult time when families are separated. We also ask that you be with each of us tonight as we make decisions that ultimately affect the direction which the city of Franklin will go. Give us spiritual wisdom and guidance. In Christ's name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Item number 4 on the agenda tonight is an opportunity for citizens to make statements or express grievances for items that are not on the agenda. So does anyone want to speak to this body? Seeing none, we'll move on to communication from the Williamson County Mayor and Williamson County Commission. Tonight we're honored to have Commissioner Steve Smith with us, and who's also the Chairman of the Visitors and Convention Bureau. So welcome.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the board. First of all, I am Steve Smith, 12th District County Commissioner. I would like to thank you for having this opportunity on your regular agenda for the county mayor or commissioners to make comments. I want to take advantage of that privilege tonight as chairman of the Williamson County Convention and Visitors Bureau. Let me first say I want to thank this board for your steadfast support of our efforts in tourism. It has been especially important to allow us to achieve the success that we have to this point. The mayor sits on our board. Alderman Bransford sits on our board. City Administrator Stuckey sits on our board. In particular, Eric has been instrumental in his leadership during the recent search process that we have gone through, and I want to thank you for your leadership there. The results of that search process is what brings me here tonight. I want to introduce Ellie Westman Chin as the new President and CEO of the Williamson County Convention and Visitors Bureau. Ellie comes to us with a wealth of experience from several years in Atlanta, a number of years in Nashville, and some other places, always in the hospitality tourism area. And we're confident she's someone that will be able to take us to even greater heights in the tourism area. Ellie, would you come up?
Good evening. Just thrilled to be here, and I'd like to echo Steve's comments and thank you for your support of hospitality and tourism in Franklin. I'm just thrilled to be back in Tennessee after a 10-year hiatus in other cities. My husband will be joining me, and he's excited to move to Franklin as well. But thank you for giving me such a great community to be a part of and to promote. I told Steve earlier tonight, I said, how easy is this job, talking about Franklin every day, right? So thrilled to be here. I've met some of you, not everyone yet, but I look forward to getting to know each of you and to working with you to promote Franklin and let visitors know about the great community we have here.
Also recognize Commissioner Langston's here tonight, and Doug, we appreciate your coming to listen. If you were here to make a comment, we're glad to welcome it. If you just want to see what we do, we're glad to welcome that also. Well, thanks for being here. We'll start out next with number 6, approval of the minutes from the June 24th, 2014 work session, June 24th, 2014 Board of Mayor and Alderman, July 2nd Board of Mayor and Alderman executive session, July the 2nd special work session, July the 8th work session, July the 8th Board of Mayor and Alderman. I would look for a motion of approval.
Move for approval.
Second.
Motion and second. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. We'll now move to item number 7, Sister City students traveling to Bad Soden, Germany. And I've had an opportunity to meet them. And y'all want to come to the podium and you have some comments and presentation? And parents are welcome to move over to get pictures, and we're not offended, and say okay.
Thank you for having us. My name is Julie Linton. I served as the chaperone for this trip, and I appreciate your willingness, as well as Sister Cities, for having me or allowing me to be an ambassador and allowing me to take care of these fabulous Williamson County students. Thank you to the parents for trusting me to for taking your children across the country. I mean, across the world, really. We had a wonderful time. We have 4 of the 6, Matthew Miner, John Newman, Grace Anderson, and Lita Yee. 3 of them are Centennial High School students. I'm actually a high school teacher at Centennial, and 2 of them were my students, so it was pretty interesting to see them outside of school. We have 2 missing. They had prior engagements, Connor Pratt, who's a student at Independence High School, and Corbin Lynn, who is a student at Overton High School. So these students have prepared something to tell you all about their trip and their experience. Matthew, would you like to start? Excellent.
Well, I'd just like to echo what Julie said about your support for our trip. It really means a lot to us, and this trip was such a great cultural experience to expand our worldview and really represent ourselves and our community and our nation. And I think I speak for all of us when I say that this was really the highlight of my summer. And so it's kind of hard to nail down the greatest thing about our trip, but for me, I think it was a level of cultural interaction that this exchange and homestay element of our trip provided. I will remember distinctly the 2 times that my host, his name is Marcel, his dad and I went to his grandparents' house to have a traditional German meal with his grandparents. And neither of his grandparents spoke English, but we were still able to communicate through, pictures and hand signs. And I got pretty good at charades. I think a lot of us did. But his grandparents told me about their time. His grandfather grew up in pre-World War II Poland, and seeing the pictures that he showed me and learning about his life through those pictures was very interesting. But I think being able to represent ourselves and be ambassadors for our community and our culture was one of the greatest things about it. So thank you for your support, and hand it over to John.
Hello. Again, I'd like to thank you all for all of your wonderful support. I agree with Matthew. This was definitely the highlight of my summer, and I'd go again in a heartbeat if I could. This really made a big impact on me, just learning about the German culture from within, because in school we've learned a lot about World War II, and it was really interesting to talk to them about that. And my German friends and I, we went and we saw a World War II hangar, and that was probably one of the most interesting parts of the trip, because we got to talk about that part of their history, and that just really opened my eyes more to how they view it, and that was really fun. I feel like, again, like Matthew said, it was a really great cultural experience, just being able to learn how they live from within their homes, and I think that part of the trip and part of the exchange is really awesome. And I've definitely been telling my friends that if they have the chance, go to Germany. It's really fun. So yeah, thank you again for letting us be ambassadors for Franklin.
Hi, I'm Grace Anderson, and I just want to thank you to have been invited here today to discuss my trip to Germany. And I guess the number one thing for me was when I left on the plane, I kind of thought 2 weeks away from home would be a little long for me. But on the way home, I thought I didn't have enough time. Going to Germany is an experience I never really thought I would be able to have. And when I saw all that just the small town of Bad Soden had to offer, it kind of showed me, you know, how much the rest of the world has to offer, and even how much more Franklin has to offer, because I can't even count how many of the wonderful experiences I've had with the von Habsburg family, and I can't wait for my new friend to come and stay with me, because I've actually been learning a lot about, you know, my own little part of the world here to show her. And I already have a lot of friends interested in joining the Sister Cities program, and yeah, 3 of them are learning German right now. And so I just want to thank all of you for making it possible for me to go, and I know that I'm going to go back one day because it's just something I feel like I belong to. Thanks.
Hi, I would like to thank the board. It was an honor to be an ambassador of the city of Franklin, and it was a great trip. One of the crazy characteristics that I did not expect would happen was that I became very close with my host family. Even though I had known them for a very, very short amount of time, we just clicked. And even though I didn't even know any German, none of us really knew any German, but it was amazing the relationships that we formed while on the trip. And I'd like to share a little experience that I had. During my trip, I went with my host family to Berlin. My host student's father actually grew up in East Berlin during the Cold War. And I had heard fragmented details about his childhood through several dinner conversations. But Berlin was a very spectacular city that is entrenched in history. While I was there, the city was under a lot of construction. Multiple cranes towered the sky, and many sidewalks were blocked off. Sorry about the construction. They're greatly renovating the subway network, Katerina's dad said. I asked, why is that? East and West Berlin completely developed separately for over 40 years, so now they are trying to connect the two, he explained. I had been aware of the 20th century history of Berlin, but I was surprised how the vestiges of the Cold War were still so omnipresent. I expected to encounter the past through monuments and buildings, but never in such a casual, subtle manner. Experiencing history firsthand has a weird but lasting effect. I would like to thank the City of Franklin for supporting the Sister Cities organization. I loved being a part of such a wonderful program. I hope other students who have a desire to learn and explore the world will be able to have an opportunity like mine with such rich cultural experiences. Thank you.
So as you can see, these students, as well as myself, had experienced something that is life-changing. I know that I will never be the same after having gone to Germany, and with your continued support, we hope to have more students in Williamson County have the same experience. I know that they're talking up a storm at Centennial High School about this exchange, so I definitely hope to go again someday. And I hope that when the Germans come here, they can go back and talk with their board and share some similar experiences. They arrive on September 17th, and they have a full itinerary of things, sights to see, places to go when they come to Tennessee, and Franklin is a highlight. So we hope that you are around to welcome them, and thank you again for your time.
Thank you. Very good. So any miscellaneous reports tonight? Okay, we'll move along to the consent agenda. All items under the consent agenda are deemed to be non-controversial and routine in nature by the governing body. They will be approved as recommended by committee or staff by one motion of the governing body. And tonight we're considering items number 19 through 24. And I would entertain a motion.
A motion to approve, but to first remove numbers 19 and 20.
Second.
Appropriate motion second. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. We'll now move on to item number 10, which is a public hearing. Consideration of ordinance 2014-10, an ordinance to amend section 2.4.33 of the Franklin zoning ordinance, which regulates exemption to site plan review. Would anyone like to address this body with this public hearing? Seeing none, I declare the public hearing closed. Would entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Appropriate motion second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. Item number 11, this is a public hearing. Consideration of Resolution 2014-51, a resolution approving a development plan for the Williamson County Performing Arts and Enrichment Center, PUD subdivision located at 1236 Columbia Avenue. Would anyone like to speak to this body? Seeing none, I declare the public hearing closed. Would entertain a motion.
Move for approval.
Appropriate motion, and seconded by Alderman Barnhill. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. Item number 12 is consideration of ordinance 2014-18 to be entitled an ordinance to rezone 77.7 acres from general commercial to specific variety district for the property located at the southeast corner of East McEwen Drive and Carruthers Parkway. I would ask for a deferral to August 26th with a public hearing at that time, and also a final vote, and also a return to the Planning Commission.
So moved.
Yeah.
There's a minor, very minor change that needs to be made.
Yeah, there's a minor adjustment in
Second.
the boundaries of the development area.
Second.
You need
Yeah.
to make that motion to amend it,
Uh,
not just to defer, but
the-
incorporate
the
that
motion is to
modification with it.
Okay.
Yeah. it
Okay.
is.
So the motion would be to amend based
PUD.
on the new exhibit and to defer until our August 26th meeting, and to refer it also back to the Planning Commission, and to also have a public hearing on the
To the
26th.
public.
And you're still good with the second? Is that a yes?
Motion to amend the, okay, yeah.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, open for discussion.
Are we not going, maybe I missed it, are we not going to approve final reading and public hearing before it goes back to the Planning Commission?
They're going to hear it at the Planning Commission.
I don't know whether you've seen the change. It's just a minor boundary line.
What's the Planning Commission going to do with it if we've approved it on third and final
Then-
reading?
Yeah, what would happen is it would be referred to them. If they approve it, it moves on. If they don't approve it, then it would come back through for consideration
The whole
because
deal.
Right.
you would start over again.
Okay, all right.
So it gives that opportunity. It's about 8,000 square foot adjustment in the boundary lines. It's very small, in about 3 different little areas. We distributed that exhibit to you. I did last night, but also to you this evening. So that would be part of the amended consideration. We work with it all in that meeting. We've added on, tagged on a public hearing just to provide additional opportunity for public input if there's any question or concern to be heard before the board.
Alderman Berger.
I just want to, in case people want to know, it's basically a change because they needed to make adjustments for the requirements that our city put on them, for requirements of what was necessary for a building, for a loading dock and everything. So they had to adjust those lines. It's very simple.
Any other discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Passes unanimously. Item number 13, consideration of resolution 2014-59, a resolution to reclassify an assistant fire chief to deputy fire chief and modify the organizational chart.
Move for approval.
Appropriate motion, seconded by Alderman Skinner. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. Item 14, consideration of resolution 2014-60, a resolution authorizing condemnation for the acquisition of property at 719 Murfreesboro Road. Is there a motion? Appropriate
Second.
motion, seconded by Alderman Barnhill. Motion was by Alderman Bransford. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. Item number 15, consideration of professional services agreement with Barge Wagner, Sumner and Cannon Incorporated of Nashville, in a total amount of $150,000 for Comprehensive Master Planning Consulting Services for the Parks Department.
Move for approval.
Appropriate motion.
Second.
Seconded by Alderman Martin. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Passes unanimously. Item 16, consideration of exclusive easement agreement between the City of Franklin and Mallory Valerie Utility District. Is there a motion?
That was funny, sorry.
Appropriate motion.
Mallory,
Is there a
Valerie.
second?
Yes.
Second.
Second by Alderman Barnhill. Thank you. Any discussion now? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, passes unanimously. Item 17, consideration of renewal of liquor license retailer certificate for holiday wines and liquors. Is there a motion?
So move.
Second.
And seconded by Alderman Blanton. Any discussion? None. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, passes unanimously. Item 18, consideration of renewal liquor license retailer certificate for Cool Springs Wine and Spirits.
Move for approval.
Second. Appropriate motion second. Any discussion? Seeing none. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, passes unanimously. Item number 19.
No, sir.
Consideration,
We remove that.
I'm just doing a little.
So we're going to hear it.
Now we're going to hear it.
Now we're going to read them.
am I doing something wrong?
I don't know. I am.
No. You're
I need to move on?
right on track.
Yeah.
Item number 19, consideration recommendation for denial of ordinance 2014-22, an ordinance to rezone 33.25 acres from specific development variety district SDX to specific development variety district for the Through the Green PUD subdivision.
I make a move, who was
Alderman
first?
Berger.
I make a recommendation to disregard the planning commission recommendation and move it to rezoning.
Appropriate motion, second. Discussion.
We will have, Shauna, what's the next reading on that? Okay.
Well, our typical practice is we
Well,
go the first meeting in September. You skip a meeting because we want to have adequate notice for the public
Right.
hearing. So that would take it to the September 9th date.
September 9th, okay.
And at that point, you would schedule, assuming you approve first reading tonight, it would go to second reading then and go to second reading with the public hearing on September 9th. On a related item, the next item, the consideration of the development plan, you'd want to, our typical pattern
I
is to
think we're not
consider
there
the
yet.
development plan at the same time as the second reading and
Yeah,
public
I
hearing.
have that.
So when you get to that, you'll want to
I've-
defer that as
Yeah,
well.
I already got that.
Okay.
Okay, further discussion. Is everybody clear what the motion is? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
No.
It passes 6-2.
No.
3.
3.
I didn't see
5
your...
to 3.
5-3. Okay, item number 20, consideration of recommendation for denial of resolution 2014-52, a resolution approving the development plan for Through the Green PUD subdivision located at 1200 and 1300 Shadow Green Drive and 1201 and 1301 Islesworth Drive.
Motion to disregard the recommendation. I'd like to make a motion to disregard the recommendation to deny and defer until public hearing on the ordinance to rezone.
September 9th.
September 9th.
Second.
Appropriate motion, second. Discussion. Alderman Skinner.
I'd like to respond to several things that came up in work session tonight. One of the things was we didn't have any discussion about any of the items other than traffic. Well, if any of you have been to speak to the planning commission lately, there's a 2-minute limit on what you can say, and that includes telling you who you are, where your address is, and so forth. I have had complaints about gunfire in my neighborhood that is 1.5 miles away from this development. Secondly, the developers didn't tell you this, but they told me in the neighborhood meeting that this proposed apartment development is not part of the existing one. It will be one that will stand on its own and managed separately. So whatever prices and things that apply to the existing one may or may not apply to the newer one. And I still say we look foolish when the citizens complain about traffic and we add more people that live in a traffic area that there's no solution for the next 5 years.
Alderman Berger.
Well, that's why I want to move it to public hearing. I think we need to hear from the public, and I think we need time to discuss this additionally without voting it down tonight. I think it deserves to have more discussion. I think we deserve to hear, the people deserve to be deserve to have a voice on this. And I also would like to have time to hear back from the developers of this property about the things that Mike brought up as well. Thank you.
Other comments, discussion? I'd ask for a show of hands. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
So that's 3-5 opposed. Passes 5-3. I need a motion to go into executive session.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor say aye. Aye.
Yes, ma'am.
Are you going to?
Oh.
I don't know.
Okay, we're back from executive session. Are there any matters to be considered from the executive session? Alderman McClendon.
Mayor, I move that we enter a settlement regarding the small curb partnership for $350,000 to resolve the eminent domain claim.
Second.
Appropriate motion second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. I look for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Pamela?
No, they got to show you how to set it up.